Ladies and gentlemen, Clandestine Live, episode 46.
46.
For something as he opened up the brandy and he munched on candy. I could sense his hesitation as he made his presentation, and he told me of stories, you know, of days past glories. Made me want to sing and shout, yeah, and dance all about as we drove from here to there. Was a little perplexed, yeah, what happened next, you know, for where he had been sitting, there was nobody there, but I heard him say, fly, fly, fly like an eagle, up to the sky, you will see the light of tomorrow. Know the right path for you. And what about me? Now how about them?
What about them?
Yeah, what about those?
What about those?
What about him? Yeah.
Oh man, that guy too?
What about her? Yeah. What about you again?
What about you?
And what about me again? Now how about us together?
Everybody.
Alright, here we go.
Come on now. There's nobody there, man.
Nobody there.
Well, we're discussing supernatural, the paranormal, multi-dimensions, real, known and unknown, right? And that song itself talks about, I don't know, nobody was there, Dave, right?
Either.
Disappearance, somebody you thought was there.
there.
Was
the
there. Maybe you
paranormal
just
I go
couldn't
through?
see that in your dimension.
Yeah, how many
Right.
How many of us have had deja vu?
I'm having
Oh,
it
yeah.
right now.
Deja vu. Oh, I know deja vu, man. We won a dance contest together, dude, back in like 1988.
I feel like this is the
didn't know
46th
you know
time
her.
I've done this.
I won American Idol.
What? You get a contract?
Dave's Ja Vu. Is that what that's called?
So I
Deja
can't
vu.
take Dave to be the next American Idol.
Deja vu.
What do you mean the
Silently picked.
But for real, deja vu is trippy. Like,
That's right, man.
did you already experience this? Are you in a parallel universe? What's going on? Are
You
you
just feel it.
time hopping, like
Hopping around.
timeline hopping?
Well, our minds are amazing. Our brains and the way we gather and store and then process information. You know, I mean, my perception, I still don't know if it's the same as yours. You know, we, as humans, we have to talk a lot to get something done, to communicate. So, you know, it's hard to see. Like
You can
I
say
don't
that
know.
again.
What color does a dog see, you know? So what color does, I don't know. Is it black and white?
Pretty sure.
Have scientists prove that?
I mean, I've seen a couple movies that have stated that they're black and white.
Can they measure it on an instrument?
I'm measuring
Yeah.
it on the internet.
You know what? Yeah, as far as just to get it off my chest in a certain context, where
Ooh.
you know sometimes
Is
we
it that
start
shirt?
talking about stuff and you want to make sure it's okay or real. So why is it that this Halloween season and stuff like that? Why is it that witch rides her broom with no pennies?
I don't
know.
Yeah, that's a logistical question, man. He's asking you a logistical question.
Just don't look up and you'll be fine.
No.
Why is
no,
that?
No, it's
Oh,
better
You heard it
For sure.
from the control room. Follow your Bliss Media control room. Let's check out Brad and Liz. She called it, man.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hey, everybody, say what's
I
up.
don't have one of those, so
What's up from the control room?
Sending it back.
Yeah. I got a
Ooh,
a
burn.
What is it?
Come on.
Because you definitely
What?
got the other side.
How
you
you
have a
doing back there,
Swiffer?
Anthony? Are you scared?
Yeah, Swiffer.
There's not a broom in there, is there?
Hide your broom.
Hey, can you move that for me right there, Justin? Justin Viola.
Ustinov?
See, I can't see
Ustinov.
Freeborn. See that thing?
Oh,
I
it's
can't
Anna.
see.
Anna
Lee
Lee,
Freeborn.
born
Hey, what's
free.
up, man?
There you go.
Get your
What are your
12s out of the
guys'
way.
opinion on the amount of people that have gone missing in national forests? Oh, shoot.
Ooh, that's
a real
a good
thing.
discussion
Yeah.
to talk about.
Yeah,
We're definitely going to
shit.
visit that. Let's run the.
I mean, isn't like one too many? Like,
Well,
Serial
yeah,
killers.
I
I'm
believe
going
so.
with serial killers.
Well, there's so many that I mean, look at all of us because there's no way to explain it. There's so much empty space
Portals.
out there.
portals. That's pretty.
But we have a lot of stories. I've got a story
We're
about
going
that.
somewhere? We going,
I've got a
wanna take us
Bigfoot
somewhere?
story.
Yeah.
Dave's got some other
Littlefoot
story.
story.
Littlefoot. Yeah, we want to talk about also little people and different paranormal things, right?
Check
And is the time that we believe to be real?
What?
Time is the
What?
biggest
Time.
illusion.
Time, I agree. Time is the biggest illusion.
Time is
Is
a
it in your
spell
mind?
that we have been locked in.
Well, I think
agree.
time's real on the show, so let's roll that
100%.
video, Liz, and then we'll
Timing.
talk about our paranormal and supernatural
is real.
stories. We'll visit different
One of
things
our
that we've
fans is like,
seen
yeah, they
and
don't know
thought.
about time. I thought it was started in the 30s.
Exploring the supernatural, the multi-dimensions that exist in our reality, the paranormal, and the unknown. Thank you for joining us on Clandestine Live as we explore the boundaries of our mind and our reality. Make a comment on the show live. Tell us your ghost stories or UFO sightings. Tell us how you've seen Bigfoot before, or how the door opened by itself. Let us know as we explore the realities and the things we don't understand. Clandestine Live, exploring the supernatural and paranormal. Being Native American, there's always been a connection to mythical and supernatural stories of folklore. But as I was growing up hearing these stories and told about the beings and energy that exist around us, I was told as if it was a reality, and it was. As I've experienced things in my life and seen them with my own eyes, I realize that I know one thing. I'm sure of one thing in this world. Our world is definitely an anomaly. It's beyond my understanding, and I'm just here to show respect. As I witness things in the night, in the day sky, as I hear things when I'm walking on a pathway. Is it my mind? Is it what I've been told? Is it what I've been programmed to see? Or is it actually the reality in my dimension? Is it a window to another dimension? Let us know what you think.
He knew the secrets of the woods and the fields and understood the language of birds and beasts. All his life long he had lived out of doors, wandering far in the forest where the wild deer hide, or skimming the waters of the lake in his birch-bark canoe. Besides the things he had learned for himself, Iago knew much more. He knew the fairy tales and the wonder stories told him by his grandfather, who had heard them from his grandfather, and so on, away back to the time when the world was young and strange, and there was magic in almost everything.
John, do you copy? It's room 209. Amy says nobody's checked into that room.
There's nobody checked into that room for the system.
What room is that?
If it's the room right above him, it should be 209.
John, do you copy? It's room 209. Amy says nobody's checked into that room, and there's reports of screaming coming from that room. Amy, he's on his way down there right now. What's going on, John? There's no one checked into that room. There should be nobody in there. Wait 1 second, John. Amy, are you there? Yeah, John says he hears the screaming coming from that room. And I hear it too. But we're sure that no one's checked into that room. Correct? John, just wait. We're going to get a hold of the police. So, I would wait for the police, John. Amy, John's going to enter the room real quick just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait one. John? John, are you there? Okay, Amy, John wants you to call the police right now if you don't mind. He says no one's in
Clandestine Live, episode 46. That's right. We are here discussing the paranormal and supernatural things.
I think someone's going to try and tell a scary story.
Perhaps.
Scary story.
Well, Bob Candelaria just came in, back on set, you know. We're telling a scary story.
Where's
you know
our
what?
campfire? Where's
Right?
that campfire at?
Where's that campfire story?
Liz
oh,
put it out.
Man.
She said no
well,
fire.
this is the campfire of today. Don't forget to follow, like, and share the campfire.
Dang it, Liz.
We're all sitting around this light, right? You're tuning in from the Black Hills. Lynette, man, I bet you have some stories to tell us about the night sky. You can see the stars up
Tell
there.
us in the comments.
Oh, Black Hills, wow.
A lot of people from there.
Yeah, no kidding, right, Dave? Dave came from there somewhere. He's been there. Have you been there before, Des?
No.
South Dakota?
I've been to South Dakota.
North Dakota.
North Dakota, too.
Yeah.
South Dakota, North Dakota.
Bob?
East Dakota?
East Dakota.
All right, we're doing that soon, man. We're heading up there before the snow.
That sat up on the top of the heads of those presidents, you know, when they took over the...
Oh, yeah, the grandfather's presidents there.
Barack
Oh,
in
cool.
the day.
Well, man, we just showed that video. It was about 7 minutes of supernatural paranormal things, like ghost stories, stuff like that. And there was one that I grabbed offline that stood out to me back when I saw it. It's an old video, 2002 or something like that. But also showed pieces of UFOs, I guess, unidentified flying objects. And also, you know, applying to that, you know, as people, we have fear, we have, you know, things that are in our heart, emotions that trigger things, you know, fight and flight. But a lot of times, are we primed in that? You know, because, you know, we think our reality is as solid as this table, or is this table solid? I don't know. Because time continuum, Des, right? Dimensions, is there time travel, black holes? That changes our reality when you talk about dimensions, right?
I think the first thing, like, to start off, like, any kind of conversation like this is to say, like, first of all,
What have you seen?
Well, more or less, yeah, like, we can't say to say that I know how reality works, it's like to say you've mastered all of reality. Like, you just know how everything works. I know ghosts aren't real. I know aliens and stuff like that. You won't know. So the appropriate attitude to me is to be like, we don't fucking know.
Yeah.
So let's walk into this being like, let's investigate this instead of have a preconceived notion.
It's like where we jam, you know, rehearse, you know.
Yeah.
You walked out one night and was like, oh my God, what the hell is that?
Couple different times, yeah.
And I personally believe that if you can think of it, then it's real on some level, because your thoughts in itself are a different dimension of reality that we can't see with our eyes, but they're up there in the ethers. And if you can think it, then it's real.
Yeah,
that's what I was hitting on. You know, the reality of something that we say, oh, that's make believe.
Yeah.
Like, why would people make it up if it weren't real?
Well, so many cultures have the same, what they call folklore or mythology. So many cultures share the same stories. You know, like you hear the term fairy, right? Today we think of fairy.
Hey, what you call me?
Yeah, we think of different
fairies
things,
are my
right?
favorite.
We think of fairy with little
Take
wings.
it as
Right?
a compliment.
But you know that term is actually a modern term, and it's kind of a culmination of all these cultures that have had beliefs about little people or things like that, right? But what do you think of fairies in regard to history? Do you think they're folklore?
I think we ate them.
All jokes aside.
All jokes aside.
Well, I know
even up there in Michigan, they talk about the little people. You know, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna put Dave on blast too on move to the UFO part, because him and I were driving on I-40 just a few months back, man, and headed to Michigan, since you said Michigan, and we're cruising along just past the Continental Divide, and we kind of made a veer, and I believe we were headed towards I can't even think of the community right then, but it was night, you know. It was like I don't know, dark night, you know. And this flying vessel flew over the car. It looked to me like it was the shape, lights of blue in a lion, if you will. And when I saw it, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, a UFO like in the movies. It just looked to me. The first thought was something military.
Yeah, right.
Because it was so fast and it was silent, and the lights were so uniform.
Yeah.
Right.
What did we say, Dave?
I know. Do you see that?
You see that? But it was noticeably large. It was like 40 feet wide or something. It was huge, and it did a very
You saw it move?
quick bank turn, and flew.
Crazy
Yeah,
maneuver.
we saw the whole thing.
So did it curve when it turned?
Yeah.
It didn't just make like a right angle turn.
No, it didn't make a right
totally
angle.
make a angle,
It-
but
it went over
but
this
it wasn't
valley
going
like
that
this.
fast to where it was just like noticing,
'Cause
or wow, it was just float kind of.
I think there's probably different species that have different types of aircraft
Whoa.
like that.
Sure.
Whoa.
Whoa.
If you're open
Whoa.
to that.
I
If you're
took
not
it
close-minded
there.
to how many things and
I
dimensions.
bet you there's like black ones and white ones. All right, Serene.
Didn't the former Minister of Defense, Paul Hellyer, disclose that he'd seen documentation of the former Minister of Defense in Canada? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Multiple species.
Yeah, that there are multiple species here on the planet and have been.
Well,
that people know about.
that leads us right into where like
That didn't that happen?
Well,
that
that
happened,
explains
right?
Dave
That
and
was
I
like
completely.
He gave it. You know what I mean? Like, didn't that happen? Right? Like,
mean-
that happened, right?
I mean, Earth is probably just a hub for everything anyway. There's trillions of
Living
species
library.
already on this planet. Like,
yeah, it's one of those
The living
pits.
you know, something else isn't going to scare me.
Well, as humans, we're always so self-centered too, because this is our planet in our mind, right?
No, not really.
More fun
Right?
planet.
we think it is as we walk around,
We
drive this
are
big
the
car.
planets.
We have
Yeah.
Nick
Big
Pratt
real
viewing. What's
thing.
up, Nick Pratt? How you doing?
Planet.
Nick.
We're not in the timeline that we believe we're in,
I
right?
know.
That we were born
No,
in?
no. Biff's president, bro. That's the timeline I'm in.
That's right, dude. Biff.
Back to the Future 2.
The Hadron
yeah.
Collider.
Ooh.
They're making.
No, I think,
they're making little mini black holes there.
No, Nick's right. Nick's got some gnarly ghost stories, man. He's got a like.
Well,
I've
you
heard
can
some, heard some real ghost stories from Nick.
Share him, Nick. What you
I'll
got,
t- I
man?
can
The
tell
South
him if-
Mountains.
I tell him if you know.
Right? What's up, Anna? Well, Anna talked about people getting lost in the wilderness, right? And obviously, yeah, you can walk off and get lost. And Bob here from Winslow, man, tell us about that a little bit. Clear Creek. What UFO stories do you have? What about right? And you were in a movie, man. What movie were you in back in the day, right?
Wait, what?
Right?
Oh,
hold on.
wait.
Yeah,
Anna,
With
watch
Jeff Bridges?
They Live.
with Jeff
Watch
Bridges.
They
I was
Live,
an
Anna.
actor in
Anna, watch
Starman
They
with Jeff
Live.
Bridges. I was.
It'll tell you a lot more
I was
about
an
what's going
extra.
on. Sorry.
I had a speaking part.
With Jeff Bridges?
Yeah. I said, let me see your ID, please. Anyways, yeah. I've been back there. It's in between, it's a dirt road in between Winslow and Sholo where where he got picked up. So when you're going through Heber right through there, cutting over through Payson. Yeah, going over to Holbrook. So right through there is off north of there is on some dirt roads, windy dirt roads. It's really like when you go out there, you start looking around and wondering like, what was he doing out here in the first place in the middle of the night? Because it's in the middle of nowhere.
With
you
a
know?
goat.
There was a.
That's Travis Walton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie freaked me out, the scene, and I know it's Hollywood they're showing. I don't know if that's the way it worked, but he ran out of the truck to go stand under this UFO, and I always thought, man, even as a kid, seeing that movie, I'm like, man, why?
I'm running
First,
the other way.
No way, I'm gonna do what the animals do. You never see the animals run up to the spaceship. You know,
Yeah, moth.
Yeah, the moth. Well, they run to the headlight too. So
Well, that's a different kind of thing.
Right,
Moths will go right into the.
I don't know. I feel like some wouldn't even need a spaceship. That some are like even more evolved to not need an actual physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like
Celestial.
energetical.
Oh, K-Pax. Don't bring up Kevin Spacey, though. He'll grab your dick.
I want to tell another story though. We were sitting for brunch one time with this avid hunter, a guy that was out in the woods a lot, man, and he told us this story because we were chatting about things like this, right? And I was talking about animals and what we believe and think we believe, and he told us the story about seeing, I'll just say what we commonly know as Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever your tribe or people call that, and so many people would laugh, if you will. And you said something about they may not need a ship, right? So in some of my thoughts or studies, the story that he talked about rang true to this. So here's a hunter, a man later in his age. He's not a young man, so he's got experience. He knows the woods. He's lived out there. I believe he said Montana too, right, Dave, somewhere? And then, so it's thick woods, but he and his friend saw Bigfoot on a ridge. And he explained this, and as he's telling it, you can tell when somebody's going through an emotional experience, right? So and it's not this isn't a guy that would just make up a story. And of course, you can say that about everyone, but not really. When you know someone, this guy isn't going to make up a story like that. And he talked about realizing that the being knew they were there and then let them get as close as it wanted to and then was gone.
Just disappeared.
Right. So like you're saying, Bigfoot, I've heard it say you see. I'm always a little worried about the guys out there searching for him in the woods, like camping and like, hey, where's Bigfoot, right? Because I don't think it's like a bear. He's not a bear. It's not described that way in any culture. Described as a being, a interdimensional being, if you will.
Do you think there's only one Bigfoot?
No.
No way.
There can be.
There's
only
not one Chewbacca. Come on,
Find
man.
the Millennium Falcon.
There's only one Highlander.
No, but for real, seriously, I don't think there is. I think it's possibly a being. I think the world is an anomaly. So we can't really explain that, and we talk about people disappearing in the woods. Well, when you go into the pristine woods and the forest where nobody's been, perhaps there's things we, can't explain, and that's why there's so many disappearances.
The ocean you
right?
can't explain. I ain't
Yes.
going anywhere near that.
The ocean
Talking about
is
the
my
woods.
favorite.
Oh,
Touching
man.
the water.
I'll walk through the woods any day, but I'm not
Deep
familiar with
blue.
the ocean. I'm not.
There's monsters in there.
I'll tell you, mermaids are
Monsters
real.
in there.
Mermaids, real thing.
Mermaids,
It's
right?
merman.
We have no
Merman
idea.
too.
Merfolk, actually.
Another
Both of you are wrong.
concept.
Both of you are on PC.
Another concept I'd like to touch on is like, even if you might not have had an experience in your physical world of seeing something paranormal, if you ever do a meditation or anything like that, and beings visit you, you get messages from certain creatures. Like, to me, mermaids come to me a lot in meditation, so that's how I know they're real. I've never actually been at the ocean and seen a mermaid, but I've seen them in my mind's eye, and my mind's eye is the eye that can see all of these dimensions and all these realms. So
Yes,
yeah.
That's a good thing to say, because our mind is way more powerful than we can imagine, and it's proven every day, right? It's proven all the time, and we still question things. The so-called smartest people in the world and the geniuses are afraid to tell what they really feel because they would be discredited, if you will. And me not being an actual professor, I can say this. I've heard a lot of different stories. I've felt energy before, and growing up, my family, it was just accepted that happens. I mean, we're not alone here for sure. And one thing I know though is I am here to show respect. I just feel that in my heart. I've been told that, if you will. So as a human, I believe we're just here to show respect to what's around us.
And to ourselves.
Totally.
And to ourselves.
Yeah, because we're part of that,
Yep, exactly.
But like we have Jarvis here talking about seeing Bigfoot
Jarv.
coming to Payson, right?
It was
He
gone.
went back, U-turn, he was gone.
Yeah, of course.
Jarv
That's
said-
the story, right? He's smart. He can disappear, perhaps.
Yeah, I've heard somebody up in like Montana, like one trying to do something outside the house. I don't know, like start a fire or something like that.
Well, I watched because I'm into podcasts, online variety shows. I follow, like, and share and stuff, And I was watching the show Lore, listening to that podcast, and they were talking about a clock that's in Prague, and it's said to have had supernatural powers and a lot of stories, if you will, around that. And the story, every story, of course, is based on a true story. But I want to do some more research myself because it was so intriguing. This clock had such an amazing kind of, and of course it's the month of Halloween, right? So it was that kind of story where it was chilling. But look that up on Lore. It's a story about the
Ooh,
clock in Prague.
That's a good podcast.
You know, and it was a 60-plus year curse that was on this clock that was apparently lifted, whatever. But there's all these stories
By the Ghostbusters.
I've heard about, like she said, people disappearing in the woods. I've heard about vehicles being found, you know, and nowadays, or even for a long time, now with forensics, it's one thing, but trackers and stuff can tell where someone goes, right? You see a vehicle and they follow people's tracks and then they lead to nowhere. Mm-hmm. And I just recently read a story about a truck being found, 3 individuals in the vehicle. The dog was in the vehicle, so you know they weren't going to go far, right? If you leave your dog in the car,
yeah, they weren't.
You know, you're not usually, unless you're a jerk,
an asshole,
right? And they had other things in there, cash and handgun and like their cell phone, like they just stepped out, but they couldn't find where they were. Wow. There was no trace.
Right. No footsteps. No
Right.
Nothing, right.
A lot of weird stuff happens. You are on a rock floating through space. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, like, and there's things like the Bermuda Triangle, like that's been known. It's just like tons of pilots and people have been like gone missing, just disappeared. People have all kinds of like weird, you know, reports of flying there and being like, "There's no runway here," all kinds of stuff. You know, while the control tower can see them, like people popping in and out of dimensions, and it's like that's kind of like well known. It's just like it seems like society just kind of like, yeah, we'll just forget about that.
Well,
science is like, we got it all figured out. That no, just don't worry about that. Everything else we got it all understood.
I am definitely entertained by that, man.
And the physical world.
No.
Like,
I'm entertained by the fact that we still, as humans, are in denial of that, right?
Yeah.
And as we see that stuff like that, dimensions and
Ghost
Bermuda
and
Triangle, things that are scary to you in the night, you know, as a human, man, oh, gee. But one thing that proves this thing, now they can measure love. They can measure your feelings in hertz, man. When you start connecting these sciences to what we've been told, and I don't like to call it folklore or mythology because that's very pompous of us to say that. Right? The story's carried. There's many books and there's many
it's not
stories.
Folklore, it's history.
Right. And
sometimes.
With that being said, we move into things, and as humans, we go through things. Like you said, Des, we take them for granted. And one of the things I always am reminded that we're real and we're human, we're together, is when I go to an event. And I'm doing this as a little lead into the next video because it was very special for me. I took my daughters and my family to the Demon Days Festival in California. That's the Gorillas, if you don't know. Erykah Badu. And it was a great show. And through my time attending concerts and events, being a musician and artist, a performer, and then just being so devoted to that, there's no doubt that there's energy and there's some type of spirit flowing through the air when the singer greets out, like, the Gorillas this weekend, to a mass audience, thousands of people, and everyone feels that same feeling. If we start paying attention to that and not take it for granted, I think that's when we can harness love. That's when we can harness the good stuff, right? And speaking of the good stuff, right? Trying to get the stuff in your heart. But I want to roll that video because I'm getting all choked up thinking about the time I had with my family. We went to Demon Days, got to enjoy the Gorillaz show, and Erykah Badu. Enjoy that video.
We're at Demon Days, live on Zoom, Clandestine Live. Say hello, Sonora. How you
just a little breather here, just to thank everyone for coming, for all the people who've been planning this for months and months and months. The idea of taking a spirit like this, taking it out of LA to a new place for a lot of people, but a really traditional place for other people, joining people together, positivity, that's what this is all about.
Destine live! Yeah! Find Destine live!
Clandestine Live, episode 46. How you doing tonight?
46.
We're feeling good. Are you feeling good, man? I thought you were going to dye your hair, man.
Yeah,
what's up,
with
dude?
that, man?
Dude, I don't know.
Well, you have time before the show tomorrow night. We're out at Mesa Powwow, you know.
How much time do I have?
Riverview Park.
nice.
Dye it
What time do we
tonight.
play?
Mesa
Oh my God.
Riverview Park off of Dobson, you know. Rio Salado Parkway.
The 101 and 202.
Between 6 p.m. and 10, we're going to have the Clandestine Rough MMA experience.
I could dye my hair. What?
You have time. You could dye it orange, blue, green.
I mean, how many people did you invite to this? Because I invited like 400 people.
400?
Yeah, only 2 said they're going to show up.
Now you're making... I was going to say you're making me nervous, man, but who are those 2? Sometimes it's harder to sing to like 1 or 2 people than like 5, right?
No, but there's room for like 400 people.
Hey, wait, I know there's 23 coming for
I
sure.
know for a fact there's 20 plus
there's
people coming.
definitely 23 coming.
Nice.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
Big shout out. Everybody from Winslow Guidance Associates will be attending the show tonight. We'll be or tomorrow night. We'll be hosting them.
Speaking of shout outs, man, I'd like to shout out to my brother James, man. Happy birthday.
Happy
All right,
birthday.
Happy birthday, James.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, James.
I'm 1 year older than him, but I started counting backwards sooner than
It's
he
10
did,
grand
so
every
he's
time we play
younger
it.
Than me.
That's how it works.
So James has to pay the licensing if he wants us to sing him happy birthday, though. So we'll send the invoice out. No, I'm just kidding. He's calling now. James, call him.
Calling in?
Is he? Oh, he's coming.
Happy birthday.
No, we can't afford that.
Well, you know, Clandestine Live is
I'll do the
presented by
restaurant version.
Operation Peace Project in association with Valverde Video, Follow Your Bliss Media,
even here.
Altered Destiny, Winslow Guidance Associates, Audio A. Wakeman.
Are you awake, man?
Are you awake, man? Are you awake? Are you awake, man?
Man?
Everybody's
Are you awake? That damn artist, Sound Alchemy, AZ Alchemy.
It's a lot of peeps up in here.
It is, man. Freedom Services.
You
What's up, man?
I know. You think this show comes easy?
Right? Well, we got to give the people that help us out, you know, and It Starts With a Spark is not a sponsor. It's a sister show, right? So we have to give a big highlight. I was going to go, you have to watch It Starts With a Spark on Sunday evenings, 8:30 as well? Or 8?
808.
808.
808.
Right on.
Like
When that bass drop.
Boom! 808. And so we interchange some subjects and interactions, but it's a whole different thing. Check that out. You know, it's great to be here, episode 46. We got the Mesa Powwow tomorrow. It's like the 18th time Clandestine has played there.
That's a lot of times.
18th
So
annual.
awesome.
Seen a few of them.
Right on. Have you been to that show before, Dave?
Yeah, once or twice.
That's right. Well, I hope the the weather's good and the fry bread stand is open before we play.
A lot of good memories from that powwow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It used to be over at Pioneer Park, but now
Right.
they've moved to City of Mesa. Is kind enough to sponsor the event. Hawk Track facilitates and took the mantle, if you will, from his dad, Roy Track, and that's why we call it the Roy Track Memorial Powwow. He was getting that stuff together, and he founded the powwow.
Kick it off.
Right, and so Hawk, luckily him and his family take care of it. They put some things together, City of Mesa. But one thing is, Hawk and I, we've reached out for different support and sponsorship, and as you go, it's not a big money powwow. It's not a contest powwow. Remember, powwows were to socialize and hang out. Right? So it's a social powwow. You can come there, and it's a whole different thing. If you want to learn more about powwow, that's the place to go, because you can ask a few more questions. And
it's all ages, too.
right?
So
all ages, free event, man.
Hey, I wonder if that couple's going to be there that we met in Payson.
Well, I hope so, man.
Yeah, well, I hope they're out there. Maybe they're watching tonight.
I would hope they're watching. We met you in Payson. We just started chatting, as we do, right? I talk to whoever I can. And nice couple said they would come out to the powwow because they had seen us before. It was really cool.
We've done a couple.
Man, I think I knocked you out of tune. Dave took like 20 minutes tuning this thing.
Yeah, it's a 5-string, dude.
It's a 5-string, so your third string's
That's
out.
an extra 10 minutes per string,
Right.
dude.
I know, huh?
Well, as we come up to the week of Halloween, growing up, it was just a great holiday for me. My family, that was one where everyone got together. There's some good memories there because we together, would get our costumes and go out and do something or decorate the house.
Get some candy.
Yeah.
Or redecorate someone else's house. Am I right?
Go,
What's up?
Right, what's up? Or get somebody else's candy. Hey, no.
Oh,
no.
wow.
Hey.
No bullying around here.
But Halloween is controversial, or it's different now because there's so many people. I don't think you can say that it's more dangerous. That's usually always the case. It's more dangerous now. But if you look at crime rates, they're actually lower.
Right.
But Halloween, man, now you see, what are they called? Harvest festivals and things like that.
Yeah.
And because of different faiths, And this show of supernatural things and paranormal, as humans in everyday life, a lot of us, we ignore things that are supernatural or paranormal or have energy, yet we're
Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
Right. We talk about vibe, right? We do things like go through traditional prayers. We go to church. We do things, and we really don't know what the energy and the symbolism means. Because some of that symbolism, right, we mentioned it, it's mathematical, if you will. It's dimensional. There's shapes. There's ways of doing things. There's a number of times to do something. Right. When you hear a song, there's tones. There's tonalities, right? Des, you've talked about, different musicians in the past that have been ostracized way back. We watched the show Crossroads together and the famous guitar battle.
Well, music in general is like that. You don't necessarily know the theory behind why whatever you're playing works. Sometimes you just know how to use it. It's like magic. It's a certain type of magic. It really is.
Yeah. Right?
This thing. And you're talking about people like Paganini, Niccolo Paganini, like violinists who, were so good that people thought that they had sold their soul to the devil to be that good, and there was only way they could have been that good. And there's a lot more to the theory, but a lot of the idea
and the story of Crossroads, right? The American blues story of Robert Johnston going down the crossroads. Right, that one. You were in the car listening to some blues, Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
He was a karate guitar player.
I like Willie Brown, man.
He was an outsider.
Call me Willie. Remember that? Very cool, man. And
that was Steve Vai's worst acting job ever.
Yeah.
He's all like,
it wasn't
pretend
it?
I don't know how to play guitar. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I pretend not how?
Oops, I fucked up. It's like when he fucks up, he just slows down slowly.
Man, tomorrow evening we're under the stars, under the moon, in an open air concert out in Mesa. It's a free event. Mesa Riverview Park. It's next to the new Wrigley Field West, and it's a nice facility. The grass is nice. Bring a chair, bring a blanket, bring some snacks. We're gonna have a lot of information. We'll kind of be able to put it all together. If you come out tomorrow and you experience the show and the experience tent, if you will, there'll be a lot more information. You'll be able to see a screen with it starts with a spark on it and see some of that.
Do we have
we do. We do
special
have
shirts
we have
for this
some
event?
limited edition shirts that were
Alright.
donated, and we're going to be giving them out or having them up for donation tomorrow. So we'll be taking donations for a Clandestine Live shirt. And then on the back it has all our logos, our media sponsor, Winslow Guidance Associates, and all the Bob's colleagues and staff are going to be there tomorrow night.
Yeah, some of them came in tonight. I talked to them, tonight.
Yeah,
They're
well, hopefully
excited.
they're liking, sharing. They're probably busy at like Arizona Mills or something, man. Down here, they got stuff to do, man.
I was calling them right before here. They were still in the office working, man. You know, that's what my team's doing all the time. They're out there just, trying to help people out, man. So they were still working on my way over here. I can hardly wait to see you all tomorrow. I'm excited to see the whole team. It's a big night to see them all together again.
It's going to be great, man. So everybody listening, follow, like, and share. Just a couple of you, man. Get your family out there. It's a really intimate show. There's not another like it in Arizona. It's an annual event. It's something that's very intimate. It's under the stars, man.
And it is a family event. Like, that's the best memories I have, is going out there with my kids and my wife and everybody, and we're having a good time with Mom, everybody out there, it was a good time.
Yeah, come and join and see the culture of the native people from here in Arizona at the same time. That's just a touch of it, it's a social dance.
Yeah, it does. Very small touch of what First Nations native culture is. And speaking of, let's give a shout out up north, man. We went up to the rim and we hung out with Valente Jacobia of Camp Shadow Pines not too long ago.
Yeah, we saw a UFO
We did some
up there,
video
too.
shoots. We did. We were looking in the sky and we saw some things we could not explain, man. And
I was all like,
identify.
what's that? They're like, it's
Right?
this satellite thing. That thing is hauling ass for a satellite.
Well, let's roll that video, man. If you've never
seen a
seen the
UFO.
Mogollon Rim and the view, go ahead, Des. You saw a lot of stuff, right? But
No, we'll save that juicy one for later.
all right, that's coming up next. Well, let's roll that rain dance video so everyone can experience the view of the rim and imagine how many things you can see in that night sky.
I enjoy the
Rain dance, right?
Rain dance.
Dance bar, bring
And we're back.
And we're back with
Episode
46.
You know what keeps me going through with this episode is Andy's organic popcorn. It's delicious.
I was really lamenting.
Nom nom nom.
I was really lamenting.
I'm hungry. I go to Desert Roots.
The budget that we used, you know. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Things would have been great if we wouldn't have used all our budget on that wind machine during that video.
I was just thinking the same thing, man. That wind machine, man.
I know. I could afford more Andy's organic popcorn. You get $3 is delivered to your house for only $99 a month.
Hey, you doing a commercial on our show right now? Hey, dude. Who's Andy and what are these Pop-Tarts, bro? Hey, hey,
popcorn.
What?
How much are you getting for this?
No,
I
mean nothing.
He's like doing a plug right now.
You're not supposed to cut deals on the side, man.
It's all organic popcorn, guys.
Delivered straight to your house. What?
Yeah. /Crow.
Hey, so why did I buy you
what? Huh?
Arby's roast beef last night, huh?
That's has nothing to do
How
with
much you getting
Andy's
for this
organic
commercial,
popcorn.
dude?
Like $350.
How did this start? Hey, stop.
Des is our mathematician. He's getting $350 for
guys.
this Andy's commercial, dude. How much does he owe us? Crow's doing a commercial on our show over here, man. Yeah.
What am I doing?
What am I doing?
Just put it in the notebook, dude.
Yeah.
You owe me
He owes us,
$350 for Andy's organic
He's just saying, I
popcorn.
want some popcorn.
It'll be delivered to your house tomorrow. And I get the commission.
Let's not mix up
Freak
sponsors now, okay? Because Andy's Organic Pop-Tart sponsors It Starts With a Spark. Did I say that right?
Popcorn.
Popcorn and Pop-Tarts?
Popcorn and
Is it both?
Pop-Tart.
What is it?
I think
Let's
they got
roll
multiple
this
things.
week
Why
with
don't you go check
Ashton's
out
ring.
their
This is just
website.
ridiculous.
Wait a minute. Is it popcorn or Pop-Tarts?
And it's $350 every time I say Andy's organic popcorn.
Hi guys, I'm here at the Phoenician Resort. This is my green room right now. I'm doing a hoop gig tonight. I am actually not allowed to film the event, so you don't get to see that. But this is my costume. Orange and gold. I don't know how I feel about these colors, but did the thing. Did the thing, I just got done. So I'm all sweaty and gross. It happens, it happens. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The Phoenician Resort in Scottsdale. Hello! We just got done with an ecstatic dance. It was so fun. We were ecstatic. We were rolling on the floor. Oh yeah. We were definitely all over the floor. That was a good time.
You guys should come check it out. East Valley Conscious Ecstatic Dance every Tuesday. It's in Gilbert.
Yeah. At this beautiful facility. We got so much space. We have a lot of space. Yes, exactly. We can run around. We can leap. We can leap. We can leap. Woo! Yes, exactly. There's a hammock over there that she's taking down.
So you guys should definitely come and dance with us.
Come get ecstatic! Hello! We are eating at this new restaurant opened up in Phoenix called Wild Ass. Yeah, we eating that wild ass, that's right. Oh yeah. And drinking our chlorophyll green water. Cheers. Chloroform, chlorophyll, chlorophyll. Look at this one. Cute little. Look at how cute. Like, let's really talk about it. Yeah, look at that little guy. For a little girl. That makes you want to come, doesn't it? And they have an amazing menu.
You probably think it was a butcher shop, but it's actually an entirely vegan restaurant, which means Dave can eat here.
Dave! Yay! Dave went fully vegan months ago. Thanks, Dave. We love you.
Loves rice paper bacon, I think.
Oh, it's his favorite?
Yeah, favorite.
Cashew cheese?
Yes.
Cheese. Yes. Well, you should definitely come check this place out if you're in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Or Flag. I think they had one
Yeah,
in
they
Flag.
have one in Flagstaff. That's where it originated. So yeah.
Yeah, everyone's so friendly
We're
here.
gonna be up in Flagstaff too.
Yeah, totally. We can. All right. See you on the other side.
Clandestine Live, episode 46. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow, like, and share.
Somebody did out there.
See us on
I know they
YouTube.
forgot Kano, and that's why we do this song.
Instagram, right?
Share,
Hey, don't forget to come and see us tomorrow night. Mesa Powwow. You can see it. It's the 35th annual Roy Track Memorial Mesa Powwow. Clandestine has kicked off that event for many years. It's a beautiful event out at Riverview Park. Come on out, man. We're having a good time tonight. We're going to do the same tomorrow night. Bring your friends, bring your family. You know what to do.
Bring your popcorn.
That's right. Bring your blanket and your lawn chairs.
Bring your Andy's
Bring me
Organic
some
Popcorn.
lemonade.
You can get it delivered to your house tomorrow before the show. We will be selling at the show.
But
Just
most
mention my name for that
importantly-
post. Don't forget to like, follow, and share, guys. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Follow, like, and share, baby. Follow, like, and share.
Share, share,
Follow, like, and
share.
share.
Clandestine Live. Follow, follow, follow.
Are you follow, liking, and sharing, Crow? How are you doing that with a guitar in your hand? Pick up your phone, follow, like, and share.
Like and share.
It's very easy.
Follow, like, and share.
Join a group. Share
Get on Facebook.
what you're seeing.
Get on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Follow, like, and share. Follow, like, and share. Follow, like, and share.
Follow, like, and share.
Clandestine Live. Clandestine Live. Clandestine Live.
Clandestine Live.
Yo.
Episode 46. Check it out on YouTube.
You guys still
Watch
watching?
it on your smart TV.
Do we got fans yet?
The phone in your hand.
Hello?
Thank you guys for coming. I mean, Destine and what they're doing for the community and kids today cannot be beat.
We've been out searching with our hearts. It's not about money, it's not about fame, it's not about power, it's love is our true name.